What's going on, guys? My name is Aldeniro and welcome to what is going to be a top 5 countdown of my favourite top 5 players essentially from the career mode series that I did, starting with Everton and eventually moving to several other clubs which we will examine during this video itself. But I just decided to just pick the top 5 players based on just my own preference really, and just show them to you guys because I figured you might as well, seeing as you've all, well, most of you will have watched the series at some point anyway, and decided for yourself. So in at number 5 we have got Kevin Mirallas, a player who I inherited in my first ever squad when I started the career mode itself with Everton. He's a Belgian right midfielder. You all know who he is. He's got 4-star skills, and I was just really impressed by the type of player that he became. I wasn't really expecting him to be a first team regular or a player who would just command that first team spot and like never be replaced throughout the series or anything like that, but he did turn out to be one of those types of players. He was very effective. I often played him as a striker as well, and particularly in a 3-5-2, and he usually came up with the goods, especially against teams that I never really played that well against historically, Tottenham being one of them. As you can see on the screen here, he played as a striker in this game against Tottenham, and he actually scored 2 goals in it to get us the victory, and they were a team that I actually always struggled to beat. And similarly enough against Wigan, who we never ever played well against, we played with a 3-5-2 one time against Wigan with Kevin Mirallas starting as a striker up front, and he did end up getting a hat-trick in that game. So I guess he just really surprised me, the type of player that he was. He could seem to score from all sorts of distances with either foot, and he was always very lively, and he eventually did go from Everton to Barcelona after they made a fairly substantial bid for him, and he actually retired as a Barcelona player at the age of something like 35 in this save overall. So a really surprising good player, I think, in my opinion. In at number 4 we've got Oscar, who actually was my first real big transfer in the career mode. We were playing as Everton when we first signed him, and we got him from Chelsea on a free transfer. He was rated something like 84, I think, maybe when he joined. He eventually went up to an 86 as far as I remember, but he played brilliantly in pretty much every game that I played him in. Like, we started out playing, I think it was a 4-2-3-1 formation that I used to usually play, and Oscar played as the cam in that, and then I eventually changed it around to a 4-3-3 holding, in which he played in centre midfield, especially this game against Manchester United, where he actually scored the first goal of the afternoon and then went on to also score the last goal. And I remember specifically doing this video and the fact that Oscar was the first concern that I had. This was the first time I'd ever used a 4-3-3, and I was worried about playing Oscar as a pure holding centre midfielder, or not a holding central midfielder, but he played really well in that position. And even though he has a high defensive work rate, he got forward an awful lot and scored several goals, especially important goals against big teams, as you can see. As he rounds off a goal here against Chelsea with his head. He's also scored against Liverpool and Man United, as both seen in this video, as well as that he scored in the well, this ball through to Eder in the Champions League was just amazing, this true ball over the top. This was against Atletico Madrid, and Godin did make a little bit of a mistake with his premature lunge, but Eder got in, and it was just a great pass overall. In at number 3 is a player who I could probably show you every single goal he scored and it would all just be the exact same goal. This guy isn't really about the types of goals that he scored, it's about the amount of goals that he scored. This is Anthony Martial, who on your screen has just come off the bench in a game against Sochaux, I think it was, where we were losing 1-0. He came on and scored almost immediately, and then a few minutes later, this goal here is pretty much the same goal that he scored every single time he scored. Does that make enough sense? I think that it does. He used to just steal the ball from the toes of the defender and attack, and he was a player who was in our starting team as we moved to AS Monaco around the 5th season. I think I spent 4 seasons at Everton, then moved to Monaco, and Martial played up front and he was just unbelievable. Pretty much our form was always down to his form. Like, consistent wins were down to his consistent goals, and inconsistent spells were down to him being missing up front, which didn't really happen often. There was one season, it was my 2nd season at Monaco, where his goals pretty much won us the league. We lost our first 3 games in charge at Monaco, and it was looking a little bit worrying because a lot of people were kind of unhappy with me moving to the French league, I think. But eventually Martial just scored so many goals that we ended up winning the league. I think he got something like 40 goals in one season, which is insane. In at number 2 is a player who doesn't really need any introduction whatsoever. It's Jose Villarreal, the American striker who starts out at LA Galaxy. I think his rating is initially 64, and Foothead projected his potential at being 77. I managed to get it higher than that, up to an 80, and I've spoken to people who allegedly have got it even higher than that as well. I don't know if they're telling the truth or not, but it would seem fairly likely, I think, given how well this guy plays for the type of player that he is. We first signed him when we were at Everton, and he played against us for Manchester City, who brought him over to England from LA Galaxy, and I just had it in my head that he was a really, really good player. I don't know why specifically. I think I initially actually thought that he was like a David Villa regen or something like that, but I ended up signing him for £5 million. He scored the winning goal on his debut and just continued from there to score goal after goal after goal in important match after important match, and it was unbelievable. We brought him from Everton to Monaco when we went. I think it was a £9 million transfer fee from there, and then I even brought him to AC Milan from there. But his main form, I think, was when he was at Everton, because we were playing with a slightly different formation for him. He was always the striker in the formation, which is a position that he didn't actually get the chance to relive his form in until he moved to AC Milan for something like £11 million back at pretty much the last season, I think, of the career mode overall, where one of the last episodes, in fact the very last game of the season, he scored the goal against Inter Milan that won us the league, because we needed a draw in that game. We were 3-1 down at one point. We came back to 4-3 with Villarreal scoring the fourth. They scored another goal to make it 4-all, so his goal was pretty much the most important one at the time, and it was just an amazing transfer overall, I think, to sign a player like Jose Villarreal, because his overall ability just doesn't seem to be that good, but I think he has that special something. I think that that's written in his bio on FIFA, and with the 4-star skills and everything else, he just has amazing long shots and shot power, and turned out to be a fantastic player for us. In at number 1, you're all going to know who this is. This is a player by the name of Raul Sastre Royce, who's, I think in real life his name would be like Raul Sastre Reyes, because he is a Spanish midfielder. A lot of people believe that he's Xavi's regen. He has 5-star skills, and we signed him from Valencia at Monaco, which was the first time that I'd ever heard of him. On the screen is his first ever goal for Monaco too, as he shows his ability to run really, really, really fast through defences and score from there. He played in a whole host of positions for us, but originally at Monaco he played primarily as a central midfielder, never an attacking one or never really a defensive one either. He just played in a 4-2-2-2 formation. No, it was a 4-4-2 actually he played in. But for a long time I thought that he was German, and that's why I referred to him as Raul Sastre Royce. I thought that he was like a German guy with a Spanish family, but I felt it would be too weird to change the pronunciation of it to anything else. But this was just the best player that I've ever used, I think, in any FIFA. His position transitioned into a false 9, a central attacking midfielder, occasionally even playing as a striker. But he just had an incredible ability to strike a football, and even though his finishing was never actually that good, he just did really well in every single position. His rating eventually went up to an 89, and it might even go higher than that if I continue with the World Cup 2026, which I'm not actually sure that I will do yet. But yeah, overall, Raul Sastre Royce has just been a phenomenal player. Like, I've never really had a player who was just a central midfielder but would play well in every other position, and it was telling if you did look at his stats. Like, he did have a lot of dark green stats, and he was rated 89 overall, so it probably shouldn't be too much of a surprise. But just what a phenomenal player he was. Like, a lot of people tweeted me pictures of their regens that they got of Xavi as well, and they were all like awesome. I guess I don't really understand how FIFA allocates regens or whatever, but the Raul Sastre Royce one, whoever he is, if it's Xavi or if it's Iniesta, he turned out to be fucking incredible, and definitely the best player I've ever used in any career mode on any FIFA in the history of FIFA. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video though. If you did, please do leave a like, that would be awesome. It's just a little kind of a nostalgia trip relating to the career mode series that I did, which hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully you guys are looking forward to my FIFA 15 career mode, which we will be starting off with Leicester City and seeing how we can get on from there. So yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed. I've been El Dinero, thanks for watching.